Why doesn't my wife want to have sex with me anymore? This is such a big question and one that I've received many times from you guys. So this time when it came through into my inbox again, I figured we really need to have a conversation about this. First of all, I really feel for you. Like, I hear so much sadness and disappointment in this question, maybe even despair. And while without speaking to you or your wife, I can't actually pinpoint exactly why she's turning away from sex in your particular situation, what I can do is I can give you 7 main reasons that women decide not to have sex anymore, or that make them reluctant to approach the topic of sexuality with you, even if you still are sexual together on some kind of irregular basis. So please do listen to all of these reasons carefully, and maybe even show this video to your wife as well, so that hopefully it will start a conversation about sex in your relationship that will then lead to an improvement in your relationship, in your intimacy, in your bedroom life together. Reason number 1, she doesn't enjoy it. And this one is typically quite hard to hear for the male partner, because we all want to be great lovers to our partners. We all want to be able to satisfy them fully, and it can be very difficult or challenging to hear that this might not be the case in your relationship. So let's unpack this a little bit. What do I actually mean when I say that she doesn't enjoy having sex with you? And no, it doesn't mean that she's frigid, and it doesn't mean that she doesn't enjoy sex altogether. That's not what I'm saying. Basically, it means that you're not taking care of her needs, that what you're doing to her and with her in bed doesn't satisfy her. And this is typically the case when men assume that penetration alone is something that is sufficient to send women to amazing, orgasmic, pleasurable places in the bedroom. That's not quite the case, and that's where porn can have a very negative influence on you and on your relationship, because it advocates so strongly the importance of pure intercourse, just penetration, and it kind of disregards all the rest. And all that rest is actually really important, typically, to a woman's sexual experience. So the whole idea of playing with foreplay, caressing one another, spending time just arousing each other's bodies without penetration, just touching the skin, kissing, licking each other, stimulating her breasts and her nipples, playing with her clit. Oh my god, her clitoris is so important to her sexual pleasure and satisfaction. And if you don't give her enough of this kind of stimulation that she needs and prefers, if you just rush to penetration, if you just want to get in there, do the thing, ejaculate, and then relaxed, happy because you've taken care of your needs, then that's exactly what's going to happen. You've taken care of your needs while hers most likely are still unmet. You really need to think about it this way. Penetration is mainly for you. Yes, she will still enjoy it, she will most likely have fun and derive some degree of pleasure from it, but it's not mainly for her, it's mainly for you. What's mainly for her is anything that stimulates her body, and particularly her clitoris, because her sexuality is different than yours, and her sexual satisfaction works differently than yours. And this is why I really encourage those conversations, talking to your partner about sex. What do you actually need from me? How can I pleasure you better? What is it that you want and desire, so that you can have the most enjoyable, blissful, orgasmic experience with me? Plus, I also have a fantastic online course for men called How to Pleasure Her, that basically will teach you everything you need to know in order to be the most exquisite lover, and in order to stimulate all of her erogenous zones and give her those really wonderful and fantastic experiences in the bedroom with you, so that she wants to keep coming back for more. Reason number 2, she feels emotionally disconnected from you. This one is really important for women. We typically need to feel an emotional connection with you in order to want to have sex with you, in order to want and desire that sensual erotic connection with you. But if you've just spent an entire day apart and you've been doing your thing and she's been doing her thing, and now you're getting together, and without really a lot of heartfelt connection, you just want to jump into bed together and have a sexual connection with her, then that might just feel weird for her and almost inappropriate. How can we have sex if I'm not actually feeling connected to you? I'm not feeling that emotional intimacy with you right now. And this is quite a significant difference when it comes to the genders, men and women, and how we approach and perceive sexuality and sexual relating, in that women typically really need to have both the emotional first so that they can have the sexual connection, whereas men can quite often disconnect the two, and sex can feel very pleasurable and very satisfying even if there isn't a strong emotional connection. And I know that that's not the case for every single man out there, so I definitely admit that, but for majority of men, that's just what happens. So if you're sort of skipping steps and trying to just get to bed together without touching our hearts and opening our hearts and opening your heart to us, without having a bit of that romance happening first, it just feels strange and wrong and not like something she would typically want to do. Reason number 3, you're not present with her during sex. There is something so magical for a woman to be in a presence, or especially in the bedroom, with a man that is fully connected to her, fully present with her, fully aware and mindful of the moment and of what's happening in the moment. That experience just makes us melt, makes us wet, and makes us want to jump on you, quite honestly. But so many men struggle with that, with that full masculine, grounded presence that you naturally can bring to us and that, we just love to surrender to. But if you're distracted in bed, if your mind is racing, if you're thinking about something else, or even if you're just so anxious or worried about your own performance, that's gonna make you very unpresent, and that's gonna make her feel very disconnected from you. Reason number 4, she feels tired and overwhelmed in her daily life, in her routine, and so when she finally gets to bed in the evening, she's just exhausted or still stressing about things that need to get done, didn't get done, or should get done later, etc. It is extremely hard to be in the body, to be sensual, to be erotic, to be enjoying spending that sexy time with you, if that's what she's going through, if that's what she's got on, if she's got so much on her plate that it's just gonna make it impossible for her to just relax and feel sensual with you in the evening. So if that's happening to you, if you get to bed together and she's still stressing about the kids or about the laundry or about the shopping, how about you help her? How about you help her create the kind of situation where she can just relax in the evening, where everything is taken care of? How can you help her at home or with the kids or with whatever she's got on, so that the evening can be spent with just the two of you, focusing on each other and not on long to-do lists or on the overwhelm that maybe is happening in your lives? Reason number 5, health issues or hormonal issues. Our sexual function is really very strongly related to our health, what's happening in our bodies, to our hormonal system, our body's ability to respond to touch and stimulation, our body's ability to send blood to our genitals, to create lubrication, to respond, to have that nervous system responding and sending signals back and forth to the brain, to the genitals, so that everything happens in a slippery, fun, orgasmic, enjoyable way. That is dependent on our health situation. So if your partner is going through something to do with her health, or if she's going through menopause, if her hormonal or health changes are resulting in vaginal dryness or discomfort during sex, that is such an important thing to look into, to address, to respect that that's what's happening with her, to have compassion, for her body. Her doctor can really help her. There are some great hormonal therapies that can support her sexual function. So don't ever force her or push her to have sex with you or make demands on her that this is what you need in your relationship, if she's going through anything with her health, with her body, or with her hormonal system that needs care and attention. Reason number 6, mental blocks and different inhibitions. There still are women in this day and age that think that sex is only for procreation, and once they've had their kids, they don't see the reason to have sex anymore, and they don't know why they would even want to do it. But it might be also not as obvious as that. She might want to have sex, and she might desire very much to have an ongoing kind of for the rest of your lives together kind of sexual connection. But if she maybe grew up in a religious household, or if she was strongly fed in her early life these kind of messages that sex is wrong or inappropriate or shameful, or that she shouldn't be wanting it, should be a good girl, etc., then that can be sort of playing out still in her sexuality. This could literally come out in her later life as this kind of inhibitions that are holding her back, even though in her head she wants to have sex with you. She doesn't see the reason to stop, and that really is something that can be addressed and can be talked through, even if not in your relationship together, then definitely with a therapist. And finally, reason number 7, boredom in the bedroom. It is a little bit sad to hear from so many couples about how their sex life just turns boring after a while, and I fully understand that it is not really possible to keep things fun and fresh and exciting after you've been together for years. And in a way, that's just what happens. It is a natural thing in your sex life together that it's different. It's not what it used to be. You can never reclaim back that kind of freshness, of a new sexual and intimate connection. You can never go back to that honeymoon period, but you can do a lot to spice things up, on some kind of regular basis, to bring new ideas into your bedroom, to be explorative and have fun. Just have fun with your partner in a variety of different ways, instead of going through the motions, instead of just doing the same thing, instead of working out, the same routine that then gets repeated every single freaking time you are in bed together. And while I believe, and I strongly advocate for both partners to bring in the effort and to come up with ideas and to be sort of the initiating person in creating change, fun, passion and excitement in the bedroom. Here we are specifically talking about situations where she's the one turning away from sex and you want to do something about it. So if you really don't want your sex life to die, you need to step up your game in terms of the variety, the fun, the novelty, the exciting things that you guys can do together. So do your research, come up with ideas, get educated on how to be a better lover to your female partner. And in order to learn all you need to know about the clitoris and about how to stimulate it well, make sure to watch this video next.